Good afternoon, everyone. Can you all hear us? Hi, my name is Lina, and I will be your moderator today of this Studying UK presentation. I would like to give a warm welcome to Kira Newby from University of Bath.
Hi, nice to meet you all.
And Taylor Weirn from University of Exeter.
Hi everyone, thanks for coming today.
Thank you so much for being here with us, and thanks to everyone joining us from so many countries. Buenos dias as well, because we see a lot of you just waking up. So the webinar today will take approximately 1 hour, and we will go over the application process, living in the UK, and of course the individual presentations of both universities. We will finish with answering your questions that you can make at any moment in the chat, which you can see on the right side of your screen. During the presentation, we will be sharing with you brochures that you can download and go back to later. And we will start with presenting Study UK with all the details. And if any moment you want to ask a question, please use the chat on the right-hand side. So it is my pleasure to start today with Kira. And thank you again for joining.
Hi guys, it's lovely to be here. So first of all, Taylor and I are going to talk to you a little bit about what it's actually like to study in the UK. And then after that, we will speak about our respective universities, Bath and Exeter. So quite interesting to know that we have over 395 different higher education institutions, so different kinds of universities in the UK. And that means there are over 37,000 courses. So whatever you are interested in studying at university, there probably is somewhere that you can find a job the job that you want when you do graduate. The UK has an excellent reputation globally. You're here today talking to two of the strongest universities in the UK, with an excellent global reputation as well, with a lot of emphasis on employability and ensuring that our students are ready for a position in the global world. Taylor?
Yeah, sorry, thanks for that, Kira. So yeah, just following on from that really, UK qualifications being recognised throughout the world. One of the things we want to talk about really is the application process. So when you're applying to UK universities, you'll be applying through UCAS, which stands for the Universities and Colleges Admission Service. So the UCAS service is an application process that's done sort of entirely online through their web pages. So unlike some other countries, particularly the US, where you would apply directly to the university or the college, in the UK, it's all done through one process where you can apply for up to 5 universities. So you have 5 different choices available. You can choose to submit applications to 5 or to fewer than that. And you can see that if you're just submitting for one cost, that to one university, the cost is slightly lower. But if you're utilising all of your choices and going for a bit more flexibility and applying to 5 universities, then you'll pay slightly more at £24. The vast majority of students applying to UK universities would choose to apply to the maximum of 5 universities. Another thing to note with the UCAS application is that there's an equal consideration deadline. So for the vast majority of courses, this will be on January the 15th of the same year that you wish to enter the programme. For courses such as medicine, dentistry, architecture, etc., that equal consideration deadline will be slightly earlier, and that will be in October the 15th, sort of 3 months before the January deadline. And this will be made clear to you through the UCAS application process. It is possible to apply after the equal consideration deadline, but at this stage, universities don't have to consider your application. It may be that the courses are filled by that time, and so the universities won't be obliged to consider your application. So it's hugely advisable to apply before that deadline, and where that's not possible, you can apply shortly after, but we always advise getting in an application as early as possible.
So what do you need to apply? Well, basically the key that you really need for applying to university is your personal statement. So that personal statement is going to be one document. It's 4,000 characters or 47 lines, and that is a one piece of writing that will be showing why you want to study the course that you want to study. Universities are looking to see that passion come through. We'll also want to see some references from your teachers. They will put on there your predicted grades, and then if you are sitting any external exams like the IB or APs or A-levels or anything else, then those results will be added once you get them as well. We've got a few asterisks there: interview, portfolio, audition. And that's really going to depend on the course that you are applying for. Now, anybody who's interested in medicine, it is highly likely that you will get interviewed when you go to university, because it's not just about having those really strong academic grades and writing a personal statement. They need to show that you can demonstrate the compassion and the communication skills in a highly competitive field. With some of the subject areas, you might need to submit a portfolio. At Bath, we have a very good architecture course that does not require a portfolio, but I know that a lot of architecture courses in the UK would expect you to provide a portfolio, as will some art and design courses, and essentially you may be asked to do an audition, which would be done online as well, potentially as an international student as well.
Okay, so just one thing we'd like to do is just to touch upon some of the things that universities have been doing across the UK to respond to the outbreak of COVID-19 globally, really. And one thing that universities, particularly in the UK, have been leading in is the global sort of research effort to respond to the pandemic and obviously the issues that it's causing. And, you know, particularly research-intensive universities such as Exeter and Bath, indeed, are really sort of putting their efforts into research to, you know, to help the front line, help the National Health Service respond and cope with, you know, the pandemic. So whether that's helping with testing efforts and to, you know, reduce the time it takes to test people in the UK or otherwise. You know, research is an absolutely key point that universities sort of must address and are addressing going forward. So each university will be doing very similar things. Russell Group universities, as I said, leading on research, and our institutional web pages will tell you a bit more about how we're helping with the response. In terms of how this might affect you, you know, certainly at the moment, universities in the UK are really hoping to and certainly planning for an autumn start date. At the moment, we haven't confirmed any later dates than that, and we're very much hoping to start as normal in the autumn. Any changes to that, and you'll certainly be made aware of those. At the moment, students are learning online. So current students are learning online. And all options are being considered for the autumn start date as to whether that might be partly online learning to begin with, or otherwise. But we would certainly hope, and we're planning for a physical start date in the autumn. So at the moment, the tuition fees will remain the same as they are. So there's no discount on offer at the moment. So yeah, in fact, Kira, do you want to talk a little bit more about tuition fees there? The new program?
Yeah, So I think a lot of you will be applying as international students to university. Tuition fees as an international student at university in the UK are generally similar throughout the United Kingdom. That would go from about £18,000 to £22,000 a year, depending on the course. It's important to start to look into the cost of living where you are at when you are at university as well. We usually recommend that it's going to cost between £8,000 and £10,000 a year to cover your accommodation and social life, phone bills, books, travel, and all these kinds of things as well. And, okay. Oh, so we've done that one. It's okay. Okay, so
I knew for a fact that I wanted to come here, and I just knew it was where I wanted to be.
I think I fell in love with Bath from the first time I visited it. On an open day, I fell in love with Bath itself as a place, and then I fell in love with the campus.
The city is so beautiful, and the campus just felt like home from day one.
I couldn't have imagined going somewhere else. I am glad doesn't even begin to describe it.
I've made some of my best friends here. I've met people from so many different backgrounds here.
Yeah, I am one of those people where university has changed my life.
Our campus has spirit because the students bring spirit to the campus.
Hi guys, I'm Tony. I'm a final year psychology student here at the University of Bath.
I'm Marcus.
Hi, I'm Diana.
I came here and I just absolutely loved the atmosphere. I thought it was just a fantastic place to be.
I've got friends and experiences that will live with me for life.
Having a campus experience is beautiful. You have all your friends around you and you get familiar with the campus. You start to really just love it.
It really feels like a hub where everybody's furthering academia and sort of working together, and I think that really shows.
It's a fantastic place to broaden your horizons.
If you put your heart and soul into the degree and to Bath, you will get everything back and you will absolutely love it here.
Uni goes by so quickly. Spend time with your friends, do things that make you happy, and don't sweat the little things, you know?
Okay, I have to say that almost brought a tear to my eye because it's just making me miss the campus and miss the students as well, and everything that goes on there. Okay, so this is me. My name's Kira, as I said. I'm undergraduate recruitment manager. I work with lots of international students in lots of different countries across the world, and I love my job. Before I did this, I was an IB teacher. I still do a lot of work with the IB. I lived in the US for 10 years teaching the IB. I taught Spanish as well, so buenos días a todos los hispanohablantes. And so as a teacher, I worked with a lot of international students who were making a decision about where to study. And when I came back to the UK, I knew that was a great direction to take my career in. So this was me just after a visit to the British School of Cairo, actually. So I've got about 10 minutes here to tell you a little bit about the University of Bath. It's a bit of a whistle-stop tour, but hopefully it will give you a good idea of what we're about, and hopefully that video helped you see some of that too. So Bath is in the southwest of England, as you can see by this picture. We've got lots of fantastic rankings. My favourite is probably two of the ones that are on here, the TEF Gold. Gold is the highest award that can be given for the high quality teaching and learning. It's from the Teachers Excellence Framework, and the standard of academic delivery that takes place at Bath is exceptional. We're also fifth for graduate prospects. We put a lot of emphasis into making sure that our students are ready for what comes after university as well. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a couple of minutes, actually. But I wanted to show you this slide as well because I love this picture. It is so colourful. It is so beautiful. I've got my banner behind me with it as well. We say belong at Bath. And hopefully you got that message from the video as well. Bath is a competitive university. We have high expectations for our students. Students who come to Bath, students who choose Bath are academically capable and very driven. But there is a real sense of community that you can feel the second that you come onto the campus, which is absolutely wonderful and something quite unique. So you can see here our university campus. That's something else for you to think about as well when you are choosing universities. If you want to be in a city and have buildings scattered out in different places, a lot of students prefer that. If you want to be within a campus and get that student sense of community, then it's a different environment as well. As you can see from this picture, Bath University is surrounded by some beautiful green spaces. What you can't really tell from this picture so well is that we're actually on top of a hill, and that hill overlooks the city of Bath as well. There are buses into the city centre 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and it takes about 10 minutes. If you want to walk into the city centre, it takes about 30 minutes. It's totally doable, and it's a beautiful walk as well. You probably would find it easier to walk into the city centre than out because that's the walk back uphill. But as I said, there are buses and taxis and Ubers as well. So you've kind of got the best of both worlds. You've got a city right there on your doorstep, but you're still surrounded by this beautiful countryside. Being a campus university means that it's condensed, but we've got everything in one place. So you can see in the bottom left hand corner of this picture what we call our sports training village. The facilities at Bath are incredibly, they are incredible. They're of a very high standard. The sports training village is used by Olympic athletes, by numerous different professional sports players, but it's also really inclusive. So you can be a total beginner at something and still feel welcome. There's an Olympic pool in there. You can see the athletics pitch and the tennis courts and the football pitches in that picture. Inside there are indoor tennis pitches. There are badminton courts. There are a couple of gyms in there as well. They have some fantastic classes. So there's a lot going on just within that space as well. There's a library right in the heart of the campus that also is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So if you wake up at 3 a.m. with a brilliant idea that you need to go and get down on paper, there's no excuse not to do so. We also have about 11 different cafes and restaurants on campus as well. We've got, there's even a nightclub that's open on Wednesday and Saturday nights after the athletic competitions. There's a doctor's, there's a dentist, there's a supermarket. So there is a lot going on in that campus to keep you busy and keep you occupied. But of course, there is the city centre right there on your doorstep as well. So Bath is consistently ranked within the top 10. We also, as I mentioned, put a huge emphasis on our graduate employments. We're graded 5th for graduate prospects and 4th for our employment prospects. But one thing that it is worth mentioning to you is that what we do at Bath, we do exceptionally well. Our students are successful. It's a supportive environment, but we don't have everything. There's no medical school at Bath. There's no law school. There's no history course. The university, when it started 50 years ago, decided to focus on a small group of subjects based around innovation that would allow students to explore different ways that they can have an impact on the future of the world. So we've got our engineering faculty with architecture, engineering courses in there. We've got our humanities and social science, where we've got psychology, sociology, criminology. We've got our School of Management with our management suite, business, accounting and finance, marketing, and then our science courses. There are a few overlap courses. So we have one course that combines engineering with management, for example. But it is quite a niche group of students. And 18,000 students as well might sound huge compared to your high school, but it's a medium-sized university. It's not too big, not too small. And we love our international community. So about a third of our students at Bath come from outside of the UK. We've got about 130 different nationalities represented. And when you join the university, you will join it as part of our international community, but also as part of our university community. So you'll make friends from your home country, you'll make friends from all over the world, and you'll also make friends from the UK. And that concept of connectivity, inclusivity is really, really important to us. So I mentioned earlier about professional work placements. Well, I mentioned earlier about employability and what a huge emphasis we have on this at Bath. And one of the reasons why we do so well with getting students such good quality jobs when they graduate is through the placements that we have. So every single degree at the university provides you with the opportunity to do a placement. Now, typically in the UK, a degree takes 3 years. Year 1, Year 2, Year 3, then you graduate. If you do a placement or a year-long paid internship, your degree will take 4 years. Year 1, Year 2, placement year, Year 3. And about 2/3 of our students choose to do a placement in this way. So it's about 68%. Some of our courses, it's compulsory. So with architecture and a couple of our business courses, it's part of the degree. But with all of our courses, it's an option. And having so many students choose to take part is what makes it really quite exciting, because you get the opportunity, if you want it, to put your academic knowledge into practice in a real life environment. So if you're studying economics, perhaps you would go and work in somewhere like EY for a year, or PwC. If you're studying psychology, you might spend that year working in an autism centre, for example. We've got links as a university with about 3,000 different employers, not just in the UK, but overseas as well. So there are lots of different options. Now that can sound quite scary. We don't just send you off and say, see you in a year. It's really embedded into what you do from day one. So we're making sure that you know that within the area that you're studying, you would have a dedicated placement officer who will help you get ready for university, for a placement if you choose to do one. We have a lot of placement providers who come onto campus to work with you, to meet with you and chat about the opportunities that they have within their organisations. Now you'll see on this slide as well, they say, oh, we've got connections with organisations like Disney, Microsoft, L'Oreal. So there are some really big names in there who take placement students from Bath every year. There are some smaller organisations too, and sometimes it's those smaller startup companies that can be the most exciting ones to work in and get that experience. It's certainly something worth considering. I really see the change in the students I work with when they go on placement and then when they come back for their final year, and how much they've grown, not just in knowledge, but also in confidence. And many of them end up securing a job after university through that as well. The other nice thing about Bath is that we are well connected. So it's actually 80 minutes now. They've just got a new train which goes even faster. So it takes about 80 minutes to get to London, and it's 12 minutes to Bristol, which is another nearby city. So even though Bath is quite a small city, the population of our city is about 100,000. Now, you think I said there are 18,000 students at the University of Bath. There's another university in the city as well, Bath Spa University. So between those two universities, there are about 25,000 students in the city. So about a quarter of the population of Bath is made up by these young students who come to study in our city. And this means that there's a very young, very positive, very friendly and very international community within the city as well, which is very, very welcoming. And I think that is my last slide. So I'm going to introduce Taylor to you now. I am also going to turn off my mic and turn off my webcam. I hope that was helpful. Thanks.
Now watch the video of Exeter, and Taylor Weirn will present the programs that he has to offer.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you guys for watching that, and thanks for taking the time, whatever time of day it is, wherever in the world you are, to join us to hear about our universities today. So I'm Taylor. I work at the University of Exeter as an international officer, and so part of my job is to really help students like yourselves think about why you might like to come to the UK, in particular, of course, to the University of Exeter to study. And what we've shown you in that video there is a very brief snippet, really, of what we're about. So, you know, using practical knowledge, creating knowledge, and using it practically in the field to really make an impact. And as a student at Exeter, you know, that's what we would want you to be contributing towards. So, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I've got a few slides to go through and to talk really about the main points about Exeter. Of course, I won't be able to cover everything, but hopefully it gives you a rough idea. I've talked a little bit at the beginning of the presentation with Kira about what universities are doing in terms of coronavirus, so I'm not going to elaborate too much on it, just leave a quote there for you. and I'll show you into the direction of a website where you can see a bit more about what Exeter are doing to help in those efforts. So you can use this website, and Bath will have a similar one, to look at what universities are doing really to help with the spread of the coronavirus. But what's more important for us today is to think about Exeter. The first thing I want to highlight really, before we talk about our campuses, etc., and what life is like in Exeter, the first thing I want to highlight is our online open days or virtual open days. And of course, we'd love to bring students and welcome them to the campuses for an open day at the end of this month, beginning of June, but that's not possible. So all of them are going online, which is great news really for you guys, because it means you can join with relative ease. Actually, what's really important is to register your interest. So if any of you in this group are thinking about studying at Exeter and you want to speak to an academic about your subject or a current student, then really I would encourage you to register your interest in our online open days. So if you go onto our website and just type in open days, you'll see a tab that comes up and for you to register your interest. What we also have at the moment is what we call the Uni Buddy Platform. Again, you can just search Uni Buddy on our website. And it's the opportunity to speak to our students, live current students living and studying at Exeter, to speak to them about your course. So it's through an online chat. And so that might be a really quick way for you to get some answers to your questions. Outside of that, on our Facebook page, there's online lectures going on this month. There's information about how to write a personal statement or help about choosing a course, how you might go about doing that. The link is at the bottom there. So please do look at that if you're interested. Moving on from that and talking more generally really about the university, similar to Bath actually, we're in the southwest of the UK. So if you've never been to the UK, Exeter is in the southwest. On the train from London, the quickest train is just over 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes to our largest campus, which is Stratton Campus in Exeter. We also have another campus further down in the southwest, actually, just under 100 miles away from our Exeter Stratton Campus, called the Penrhyn Campus. We're going to talk a little bit about our campuses in these slides, really. So here you can see a drone image of our Stratton Campus in Exeter. Okay, so this is our largest campus. As you can see, it's very green, similar to Bath actually. It's slightly on a hill, and it's a mixture really of old sort of traditional red brick English university buildings mixed with really modern new buildings like our business school, the Forum, and our Living Systems Institute as well. The Stratton Campus is home to around 18,000 students across all levels. Also has things like cafes, restaurants, bars, nightclubs. Most of our accommodation, about 70% of it, is on this campus as well. But here we offer a huge range of subjects across the arts, humanities, engineering, etc. A list of all of those will be on our web pages and indeed in the prospectus that SRT have shared here into the group. About 20-minute walk away from the Stratton Campus is our St. Luke's Campus, which you can see here. So the St. Luke's Campus, again, is in Exeter itself. 20-minute walk away from the Stratton Campus, but only about a 10-minute walk away from the city centre. So here we have our medical school. So we've got medicine, radiography or medical imaging, and nursing programs, for example. We also have things like sports and health sciences. And this is where our future teachers will be training as well to do their PGCE certificates. So again, another one of our campuses. As I mentioned a couple of slides ago, we have a campus even further southwest in Penrhyn. So this is in Cornwall, and it's called our Penrhyn Campus. You can see how unique this campus is in its greenery. It's really set into the land and very close to the coast indeed. What we have as a focus at our Penrhyn Campus is a real drive and a look towards sustainability, the environment. So some of the big issues of our time really, and our courses offered on this campus really focus on that. So we have courses down here like some courses you can study here that you can study at Stratton, things like business or English or history. But courses that are unique to this campus are things like marine biology, or renewable energy engineering, or other bioscience programs really. For example, if you're studying business at this campus, there'll be modules in there about sustainability within business and business and the environment. So everything that we do down here has that kind of focus. And I'd encourage you to look at our web pages for that campus. Indeed, all of our campuses have virtual tours as well, which you can access on our web pages. So what's it like to study at the University of Exeter? I mean, I can tell you a little bit about it in this presentation, but joining the online open day and using Uni Buddy will give you a chance to speak to real life students. To touch upon it really, students will learn through a variety of different methods. So hands-on learning in laboratories, if that's relevant to your course, lectures and seminars. Depending on which course you're on, depends on the size of the groups that you'll be joined with. So courses like law and business tend to have much larger groups, and some of the more niche subjects will have much smaller groups. In any case, everybody will be sort of given an academic tutor. So that's be an academic member of staff who's there to support you during your study, really with any issues that you have, academic or personal, etc. Independent study and contact time. So contact time is where we think about how much time will you spend in a lecture or in a seminar, like a classroom. This will vary. So some subjects, it will be as low as sort of 8 hours a week in the first year. And for some subjects, particularly things like medicine, it might be contact time of around 20 to 25 hours per week. So there's a breakdown for each of our subjects. There's a breakdown of how much time you'll spend in lectures, how much time you'll spend doing independent study on our program web pages. So find your subject of interest on our web page, and there will be a structure. There will be a course structure tab. So please, look at that and to get a feel for how long you'll be spending in class, how long you'll be spending, in the field and doing field trips, for example. Another thing that we like to sort of focus on at Exeter, similar to Russell Group universities as well, is employability. How does students at Exeter add value to themselves and their future prospects? Well, they add value to their degrees, etc., by taking part in things like study abroad or year in industry opportunities, so internships, etc. For example, in our business school, all of our programs will offer the option to study abroad year, a year in industry, or a year in industry abroad, if that's something you're interested in. And this can really help you to add value to your CV, add value to your chances of graduate employment. So please, please use our program web pages to see what opportunities there are for you. Which university partners around the world that you could join as part of your degree with Exeter. There are many opportunities for you to utilise there. Again, the prospectus that's shared and that maybe you've downloaded will go into much more detail about which courses offer those opportunities. Student life is very different for different Exeter students. It really depends on what they engage with and how much they want to engage with things, but the opportunities are really plentiful. There's a lot to do. So whether or not you're at our Penrhyn Campus, and 2 images from those are on the left-hand side here, and you're taking part in things like, I don't know, stand-up paddleboarding or surfing society, or joining one of our many international societies, there's something really for everyone to do. Exeter has a real focus on sport as well, so there's no end to the amount of sports that you can get involved with, whether you join a new sports club as a beginner or you're a competitive national athlete and you'd like to progress your sporting sort of skills with Exeter. We also offer a number of performance sports scholarships, so please do use our websites to check those as well. And a really important part about university is living there. Okay, so you're not just going to be studying at this university for 3 to 4 years, maybe more, but you'll also need to live there probably for each of those years, or you might live away while you're doing a placement year. But you need to think about a few different things really. So first of all, I mean, at Exeter we offer different options, so you can choose catered accommodation or self-catered. So whether or not your food is included or you want to cook by yourself with your flatmates, etc. And the prices vary for those. Also think about the location. So as I said earlier, in Exeter, about 70% of our accommodation is on the campus itself, meaning if you're a little bit like me when I was at university and you want to be right next to your lecture theatre, so you can just roll out of bed and go straight to your lectures, that's an option for you at Exeter. Alternatively, if you want to live a bit further away, well, Exeter city centre is about a 20-minute walk away. So even if you live in the city centre, you've got a very short walk to the campus. And that will all be for your first year. And we've got a bit about the accommodation guarantee there. If you're a first year student, as long as you apply sort of before the deadline, July the 31st, and you make Exeter your firm choice, you'll be guaranteed university owned and managed accommodation. And then, like other universities, in the second year and in the third year, you'll tend to move off campus into the private rental market. And again, in Exeter city centre, a huge amount of options, very short walk away from the campus, usually no more than 30 minutes from the ones that tend to be the farthest away. Talked a little bit about sports and societies, but just to highlight that in our Exeter campuses, we have over 250 sports clubs and societies. And in Penrhyn, in Cornwall, at our Penrhyn campus, over 150. And of course, the campus we have in Penrhyn is shared with another university, Falmouth University. So any sports clubs and societies you will join there will be part of a sort of a joint Falmouth and Exeter union. So yeah, lots of opportunities to mix with students from different interests, different backgrounds, but who have a shared interest in sport or an academic society, for example. Again, use our web pages to look at all of the different sports and societies we offer and see what you can get involved with. This can be a really good way to add value to your CV, to your skill sets. And just to touch upon some of the support that we offer. So I talked about the academic tutors that students will be allocated to for sort of one-to-one support. They'll have office hours where you can seek support from them or ask questions. And as well as that, we have sort of health and wellbeing support with a surgery on site and a wellbeing team as well. And financing, housing support, teams at the university there to support you with that, to help you with things like questions about finance and scholarships. All of that's there. Information on our web pages about scholarships. So, for example, our Global Excellence scholarships that many of our international students will be eligible for. I would encourage you to use our website, our funding database on our website to look at what may be available to you. And we also have an international student support team who are really there to help you when you arrive at Exeter and also when you leave. They can help with very sort of practical things like living arrangements, visa, visa queries, setting up bank accounts, any queries you have really, sort of a dedicated team to support you there. We have a careers zone at the university to help boost employability chances, etc. We host big careers fairs at the university many times per year. The business school, for example, has its own careers team to focus solely on the business school students. So those are all just examples of some of the support available. And just to leave you really with some of the statistics about the university. So, top 10 university in the Guardian University Guide at the moment. We're consistently ranked in the top 15 universities and have been so over the last 10 years, really. And indeed, a Russell Group University in the top 150 in the world. So, we really hope you would consider Exeter when thinking about coming to the UK for study. If you have any questions, get in touch with us through the email addresses or social media channels provided. But thanks for listening to me.
Okay, I think we're going to take a look at some of these questions. I actually just saw a question. They've been coming in really thick and fast, and I just wanted to mention this one quickly because I can't find it again now, but somebody asked, why should we choose your university over Bristol or Leeds? And Taylor just mentioned there about the rankings, and I think it's important to say when you are looking at competitive universities, whether it's Exeter or Bath or another university, it's important that you're not making your decision because one's third in this subject this year and the other one's fourth. Between competitive universities, they're all really good and you are going to have a good experience once you get there. A lot of it's down to what is right for you and where you're going to feel most at home, I would say as well.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
Right, let's have a look at some of these questions. What's the cut-off mark to get to either of these universities? Taylor, do you want to take that one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, in terms of grades, whether it's A-levels, IB, etc., they really do vary from course to course. I think typically sort of the lowest offer for an IB would be sort of 32 overall. It goes up to about 36 overall for certain programs. So I would say to really ensure that you're on the right page, check the program websites, the individual program pages for whichever university you're thinking about applying to, and see what the entry requirements are. It will state whether or not you need a particular higher level, if you're doing AB, or particular A level, etc.
Okay. Are either of these universities offering master's degrees? So we have a lot of the degrees in the UK. So yes, we both offer master's degrees. I think that's safe to say. But you also have the opportunity to do an integrated master's in quite a lot of subjects. So particularly if you're looking at something vocational like engineering, you can do a 4-year degree, which has the final year being a master's degree built in. And that's the same at Exeter, right, Taylor?
Yeah, very similar.
Yeah.
So I've got another question. So from Crescent that's asked, that's just this bit, that's asked, if you don't meet the entrance requirements for the course, but you write a good personal statement, will the university still consider your place? I mean, if you go ahead first with Bath's response.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because the personal statement is really, really important. And what I will say at Bath, and it does differ between universities, but if you're what we consider a near miss, so let's say your offer was 3 A's and you came out with 2 A's and a B, or your offer was 666 in your higher levels if you're doing IB and you came out with 665, the first thing we would do would be to look back over your personal statement and think, and then make a decision. If it's a strong personal statement, you're more than just a couple of letters or a couple of numbers to us. And that personal statement is going to be pivotal in helping us make a decision. So it is possible, yes.
Yeah.
What would you say to that, Taylor?
Yeah, I mean, it's really similar at Exeter. So we would say in the first instance, grades really are the foremost thing that our staff will sort of consider when making an offer. But of course, the personal statement, for reasons that Kira's mentioned, is really important when, if you're slightly just off the mark with your grades, or it's coming down to 2 students and there's 1 space left. It's really important that when we're looking at your personal statement, everything that we need is in there, and you've had a chance in what will probably be the only written piece of work that the university sees from you. You've had a chance to sort of talk about your skill sets and how you'll add value to the university. So it's extremely important to write good personal statements to help your chances.
And I'll just add to that as well and say that the other thing to mention with that is that it's it will vary from course to course. So if you're applying for a really competitive course, let's say medicine, I would imagine at Exeter, or maybe architecture at Bath, it's going to be harder to be considered if you don't quite meet the grades compared to something that might be a little bit more flexible.
Absolutely, yeah.
So everything's on a case-to-case basis, but it's never just black and white. I'm just going to add into this chat quickly. Somebody just asked on there if students would if Bath have a virtual open day. So what we've got is we've got a virtual experience, and you can click on that link there, and there are different talks about things like personal statements and different bits of information that you might find quite handy. And that's there all the time rather than a specific open day. They've just done it differently.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, go on.
Yeah,
sorry.
That's all right. So, I mean, sure, this is one that lots of students are asking. So we'll answer this one from Daniel, which is, for 2021, will EU students pay the same as UK students or the same as international students?
Oh, the $1 million question. I think the honest answer is, at the moment, a decision hasn't been made. And I think that we really hope that universities would have a clear idea of what was happening with Brexit. However, as things stand at the moment, as you can imagine, it's all been put to one side while we deal with the coronavirus situation. So at the moment, no decision's been made. Would you? That's the same across the UK.
Yeah, I mean, we're very much all universities are very much waiting for the UK government to make a decision, and as and when they do, sort of, we'll be doing our best as universities to let our prospective students know.
Yeah, and we do hope to have a definite decision on what's happening with that within the next few months, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So just trying to.
Oh, this is a good one. Can international students work in the country or not?
Yeah. So it's absolutely possible for international students to work whilst they're studying. There are some, if you're on a Tier 4 visa, there are some sort of conditions on how many hours, for example, per week you might be able to work. But it's absolutely possible. Many of our international students work elsewhere in the city centre, but also as student ambassadors, for example. Is it similar at Bath, Kira?
Exactly the same, yeah. I think the restrictions on the Tier 4 visa, I think it's 16 hours a week, but generally, as a student, I don't think that you'd want to work more than 12 hours a week anyway, because you want to be making sure that you've got some time to earn some money, but also balance that with having a social life and studying as well. So I normally recommend that. But yeah, I have a lot of international students who work with me on campus, and we also have, I know students who've got jobs in different coffee shops or restaurants or stores in the city centre as well. So there are lots of opportunities, and they're all advertised in the student union as well.
Brilliant. Yeah. There's one here. Fernando's asked, are GCSEs a plus when applying? I would say for Exeter, on individual program pages, so different courses, most of them do not require a particular GCSE. Obviously, when you submit a UCAS application, you'll put details about any GCSEs you do have. But primarily, certainly at Exeter, I'd imagine it's similar for Bath. Grades will largely be based on an A-level or equivalent qualification. There are some courses that may require an English GCSE or a maths GCSE grade. So.
But it's to demonstrate that you've reached that standard rather than it specifically having to be a GCSE, especially as you guys would not have been studying in the UK as well.
Yeah.
Okay, what else have we got here? Right, do you offer medicine? Bath does not offer medicine. Unfortunately, we do not have a course in medicine. We got 2 questions in a row from Ariana Ijos Mauri. Sorry if I've pronounced that wrong. You do have medicine though, don't you?
Yes, yeah, Exeter offer medicine. So we've got a 5-year Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery programme. The costs for those are on our web pages, but I believe it's just over £35,000 for international students. So yeah, we welcome applications from international students to our medicine programme, absolutely.
Okay, and then what else have we got? We had a similar question that Marta had. Do you offer a dual degree in business and engineering? Do you have a double degree in business and engineering? We do at Bath. We've got one that covers business and engineering. Do you have one?
Yes, we have an engineering management degree. So management sort of being the term to describe business, really. So a combination of that. And sort of engineering with entrepreneurship as well. So some relevant degrees there, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I think I was looking in the wrong chat bit.
That's okay.
Go on.
There's another one that I'm looking at that says, do you provide any housing? So, I mean, we both touched upon that in our presentations there, but certainly, most universities in the UK, particular campus universities such as Bath and Exeter, yes, we do offer housing. And typically, that's for first-year students. on-campus accommodation, or of course you can choose to live in private accommodation off campus. But yes, housing is available, and there are many different options.
Yeah. We also had a question from Murad about the Bath entry requirements for computer science. I've just seen that question and now it's disappeared. I will put the computer science course at Bath. You need to have mathematics in order to get onto the course. But it's generally it's usually an A star and 2 A's or equivalent that we'd be looking for, with maths included in that as well.
Yeah. So there are a number of different questions coming in about sort of IB grades or A-level grades and what the entry requirements are for Bath or for Exeter. So if because they vary, I mean, I would say typical offer at Exeter would be 3 A's to 2 A's and a B for many of our programs. But I would say to use the individual subject pages on our website or on Bath if you're interested in going there, to really look at what the entry requirements are for that particular course. We'll have all of our A-level and IB requirements, but for international students there'll be a page about the qualifications that are equivalent to those for your country.
Oh, yeah. Okay. It was IB requirements for Bath. Now, Bath, I will say we love the IB at Bath. You don't have to do it, but we do quite a lot of research with the IBO on how well students do get on once they are studying at the university. So the IB requirements, it would be 36 points to do computer science. So generally we'd be looking for 7 and 2 6s in your 3 higher level subjects, and that needs to include higher level maths, but it can be either higher level maths. Now, if you had standard level maths and you got a 7 and you had a range of strong subjects at higher level on top of that, they might consider you as well.
Yeah, similar to us. So if we use business and management, as an example, 36 overall or 666 at IB. But that was just an example. I mean, all of our subjects will detail exactly what you'll need on our web pages.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. What else have we got here?
I've got a question about the acceptance rate for medicine, the medicine school. So just to very quickly talk about that. At our medicine school, for our medicine program, we receive approximately 2,000 applications. We interview approximately 800 students. We make offers to about 400 of those students, and we have 218 places available on our medicine program. So just to give you a rough idea, it's a very competitive program. So yeah. Okay. If anyone's got any more sort of very specific questions about different programs for myself or for Kira at Bath, and you can certainly email your school counsellors with very specific questions and get them through to us, and we'll be very happy to respond to those.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, we had a question about scholarships as well. We've got a few different scholarships for international students at Bath. It's worth having a look both in your own country and online to see what might suit you. 2 that I will bring to your attention now. One is our Chancellor's scholarship. The Chancellor's scholarship is £2,000. That is automatic, so there is no application. It just automatically comes off your tuition fee in year 1 of studying at Bath if you are an international student. If you get 3 A stars in your A levels, if you get 2 A stars and an A, or equivalent if you're doing another one, then you get £1,000 off your tuition fees. Now, we also have an IB scholarship, which can be merged with that. So if you came out with 44 points in your IB, I know, right? No big deal. But if you do, you would get £8,000 taken off your first year tuition fee. So that would be your first year tuition fee almost cut in half. And that goes down in increments, and you can get, I think, as much as £2,000 off still your first year tuition fees. So it's worth having a look at that online as well with the scholarships. They're quite good ones for international students who are academically capable anyway.
Okay. Kevin, you've asked a question about a student that's interested in animal behaviour at Exeter. I would say to be able to give you a lot more detail, I'm happy to respond to that via email. So certainly if you can, or if one of maybe Lena from SRT could share our emails at the end of this to get back to you, no problem at all.
Okay, we're going on to the last question each now.
Yeah. So I'm just looking for different ones that have come through that we haven't answered already.
Yeah.
So Humberto has asked, how does international student support work? And I would imagine this would be very similar at different universities. We at Exeter, we have an international student support team that are there to help you sort of when you arrive to the campus with everything, you know, to adjusting to life in the UK, through to academic support, as well as your academic tutor. There are also things like you know, welcome events that take place throughout Freshers Week and when you arrive on the campus. But also there are, you know, many opportunities to get support with things like housing, accommodation, setting up bank accounts, and some of the real practical elements of moving to the UK and living in the UK. Is it similar at Bath, Kira?
Yes, it is similar at Bath. We have a lot of emphasis on student support. During that first week of term, it's called Welcome Week, and we have an extra layer in that of the International Welcome Week. So we have things taking place to help you with things like opening a bank account and registering with the doctors and a dentist. So some things that UK students wouldn't have to think about. But that support goes on throughout the whole time. I think with both of these universities, what's really important to us is that you're happy. If you're happy, you're going to be more successful. And if something isn't quite going right, then we want to make sure that you know the routes that are available. There is always someone there for support in different areas.
Absolutely. Okay, so maybe so this is the last question, and so Kira and I will both sort of tackle this one. What would a strong application include? Kira, do you want to start with that one?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think a strong application 100% will include a personal statement that is outstanding. It shows us that you are passionate about what you want to study. It demonstrates why you're passionate about it and how you're learning, how you're preparing yourself, and why you would be a good candidate for that university. We want students who are academically capable, but we also want students who have that itch to scratch and who are really hoping to thrive once they get to university.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, very, very similar for us. So, you know, a strong application would include a combination of, you know, solid academic backgrounds and you know, a real demonstration of your academic capability, and on top of that, you know, in your personal statement, giving examples and evidence of you know, what you've done that makes you sort of different from, you know, what have you done perhaps that you didn't need to do, where have you added value where you didn't need to have you, you know, where can you demonstrate knowledge and understanding of the subject that you're interested in. Those are the questions that admissions tutors really at universities will be asking. And so a combination of all of that really will certainly help your application. I think, Kira, that's all of the questions we're answering at this time.
Yeah, sorry we didn't have time for all of them, but we'd be happy to try and answer some more as well if you need to get in touch.
Yeah, and I think some questions will be sent through to us after this, and we'll certainly get back to you with any answer that we can. So just to sign off, to say thank you very much for joining us, and thanks for your time.
Thank you so much. It was so nice to speak with you all.
Much, Kira and Taylor, for this wonderful presentation. We saw so many questions today. I think that was one of our webinars with the largest amount of questions. So we will make sure to get back to each single one of you. We will also send you a recording of today's webinar and keep you posted on everything we are yet to show you. We have webinars on different countries coming up. So check your email. You will also receive Exeter and Bath brochures. Some of you couldn't download those. So with this, I'm saying goodbye and thank you so much for joining us from really all over the world. And it's been a great day spending with you. Thank you. Bye-bye.